Yo, what's up guys? This is Jonathan from TechTeachers and today we'll be taking a look at the top 5 smartphones under 15,000 INR or 200 US dollars. And I know this is a hot topic, so I don't want to waste any more time of yours. So without much ado, let's roll the intro.
If you haven't subscribed to my channel, do it right now by hitting the subscribe button. Also, click the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Now, before starting the video, a small disclaimer that this list is based upon my personal views and what I have heard from my personal friends who are actually using these devices. So, if you feel that this list is kind of biased, then you actually are true, cause these are based upon my views and what I feel about these devices and what I feel that are best bang for your buck. So yeah, with that out of equation, let's actually get started. So the fifth smartphone on our list is the Realme U1. So Realme launched the Realme U1 for the 11,999 price for that 3GB RAM and 30GB storage variant, and 14,499 for the 4GB RAM and 64GB storage. And for that price, what you're getting is a 6.3-inch Full HD Plus Dewdrop notch display with the MediaTek Helio P70, which is based on 12nm and which is actually faster than Snapdragon 660, at least in terms of CPU, which is great. And there's also a 25 megapixel f2.2 front facing camera, which is actually flagship level, which you can also find on the Oppo R17 Pro, which is priced for 45,000. So you can think that it is actually good, the front facing shooter. At least the rear isn't that good when compared to the front, and it is a combination of 13 megapixel f2.2 camera with 2 megapixel f2.4 rear camera. Yes, a 2 megapixel rear camera for that depth sensing and stuff, which is kind of good. There is also this 3500 mAh battery, which does compensate and does give you 1 day of battery backup very nicely. And I would have liked to see fast charging, but it does not offer that great of fast charging speeds, but then again it's still good. And yeah, there is also this Gorilla Glass 3 protection for the front display, that is 6.3-inch FHD plus 1. So overall, for the price of 11,999, this is actually a great phone. But when you think of going with something like the 4GB and 64GB storage variant, then we actually have a different device on the list, so stay tuned for that. So the fourth place in our list goes to, surprisingly, the Redmi Note 6 Pro, as the Redmi Note 5 Pro last year was the best smartphone under 15,000 INR, but this year Xiaomi did not do that big of an upgrade and did not do justice to its Redmi Note lineup. So that makes Redmi Note 6 Pro in fourth place in our list, and not bad, cause fourth place is still good, cause Redmi Note 6 Pro comes with a Snapdragon 636, which is based on a 14nm fabrication process, a 6.26-inch FHD plus notch display, which is kind of big like a Poco F1 and is not that good looking when compared to other smartphones in this list. And the Gorilla Glass protection is also unspecified version, which kind of makes like I feel it's a Gorilla Glass 3, but I'm not sure about that. Also, the USP of this device is that it has a 4000 mAh battery, which is actually great, and it will definitely give you more than 1 day of battery backup. Also, the fact that it has one of the best cameras in this segment, which is a 12 megapixel f1.9 plus 5 megapixel f2.2, which also has a dual pixel autofocus or PDAF for rear camera, which is actually good and is one of the best in this list and also in this segment. Also, the front facing camera is pretty good, it has a 20 megapixel f2.0 camera with 2 megapixel f2.2 for depth sensing, which is actually good. And the front facing combo is kind of similar to the Poco F1's front facing camera, which in itself speaks, cause the Poco F1 is 20,000 rupees phone, so I guess it is good. And also the aluminum build is actually an upper is better than the Realme U1's rare plastic build, which kind of feels like glass, but then again it is plastic overall or polycarbonate. But this Redmi Note 6 Pro's aluminum build does speak, but I would say the Redmi Note 6 Pro is not the best looking device, but it is best feeling in hand or out of all the devices in this list. So yeah, Redmi Note 6 Pro takes the fourth place. So the third place in our list goes to the Honor 8X, and Honor this time did really good and providing a killer deal for this price segment. So the Honor 8X comes with a Kirin 710 processor, which is actually based on 12nm and is better than the Snapdragon 660 in terms of processing power, but not as good as the Adreno GPU powered found in the Snapdragon 660, but it's still great. A 6.5-inch FHD plus small notch display. Yeah, it does have a small notch, not as obtrusive as the Redmi Note 6 Pro, but not as even smaller as the Realme U1 or the Realme 2 Pro. So the notch is acceptable considering the display size. Actually, the 6.5-inch FHD plus one, that is. It also has Gorilla Glass 3 protection for the front and the back, which actually makes it look really good, and the colors are so eye-popping that you might end up taking this device if you want the rear looks at least. There is also this 3750 mAh battery, which does give it a 1-day battery backup easily, that is. Also, there is this 20 megapixel f1.8 plus 2 megapixel depth sensing camera on the rear, which is not as good as, let's say, the Redmi Note 6 Pro's camera, but then it is actually pretty good and it's better than other in this price segment. Also, there is this 16 megapixel f2.0 front facing shooter, which is pretty good and is capable of shooting 1080p videos also. And speaking of which, the rear camera of the Honor 8X is one of the fewest phones in this price segment, which despite having hardware cannot shoot 1080p 60 fps, which is actually a great feature of Honor 8X's camera. And again, it cannot shoot 4K despite hardware supporting, but then 1080p 60 is available. So the 4GB RAM and the 64GB variant of the Honor 8X comes with a price of 14,999, which is pretty good. The 6 and 64GB variant comes with 16,999, which is not bad, but if you want to go higher than this, then you can actually go with the Honor Play, which is priced for 17,000 for now, and also has a Kirin 970 processor, which is far better than the Kirin 710 or any other processor found in this price segment. So yeah, but still Honor 8X makes it for the third place. So the second spot in our list goes to the Realme's Realme 2 Pro, and it is surprising that Realme has actually managed to get two devices which are the best under 15k in this segment, and it is surprising but in a good way. So the Realme 2 Pro is actually one of the fewest phone which has everything that all the kitchen sink thrown at a device in this price segment, which is very competitively priced. So the Realme 2 Pro comes with a Snapdragon 660 processor, which is actually based on a 14nm fabrication process and is quite powerful in both CPU and GPU terms. I know the Snapdragon 660 used on the Realme 2 Pro is an underclocked variant, but still it is powerful than the Snapdragon 636 and is actually powerful enough. And it also has a 6.3-inch FHD plus dew drop notch, which is the prettiest of all, or prettiest notch of all in any smartphone in this segment. Also, the fact that it has a Gorilla Glass 3 protection on the front, which makes this display great. There is also this 3500 mAh battery, which is sufficient for 1-day use thanks to ColorOS optimizations. Also, the rear camera is a 16 megapixel f1.7 plus 2 megapixel depth sensor, which definitely gives better photos in any other smartphone in this segment except one. And the front facing camera is also a 16 megapixel f2.21, which is pretty good and does click very natural. Okay, I'm kidding, unnatural kind of, but then again eye soothing kind of selfie. So there is also this polycarbonate build or plastic at the back, which does give you kind of feel like a glass one, but then again it is polycarbonate, so that is something that I don't like that much, but still it is what it is. And it is also one of the few smartphones which can shoot 4K videos at 30 fps in this price segment. So what price segment are we talking about? The 4GB RAM and the 64GB storage variant of the Realme 2 Pro comes at 13,990. The 6GB RAM and 64GB comes at 15,990, and the 8GB RAM and 128GB, which also has UFS 2.1 storage, comes at 17,990. But again, the higher end variants such as the 15,990 and the 17,990 are too overkill, and so I feel that the 13,990 will be an ideal option if you are looking for a phone under 15k and are looking for Realme 2 Pro. But then there is another smartphone which is the best in this segment. So finally, the first place in our list goes to, drumroll please, it's the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M2, and for a very good reason, as the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M2 is an actual upgrade over the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M1, which is already a great phone, unlike the Redmi Note 6 Pro is to a Redmi Note 5 Pro. Just saying. But the Asus Zenfone Max Pro comes with M2, at least comes with a Snapdragon 660 processor, which is great and is based on again 14nm fabrication process, same like the Realme 2 Pro. It also has a 6.26-inch FHD plus small notch. It is not as obtrusive again like the Redmi Note 6 Pro, but it is not as small as, let's say, the Realme 2 Pro or the Realme U1, but it is still fine. It also has a Gorilla Glass 6 protection on the front as well as on the back. It is a flagship feature which the OnePlus 6 or the flagship phones has, but Gorilla Glass 6 in this price segment is great. A massive 5000 mAh battery, which is unheard of in this price segment. Only the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M1 offers this, so the battery life would be great, and it can sometimes be 2 day smartphone for anyone. There is also this 12 megapixel f1.8 plus 5 megapixel f2.4 camera on the rear, which actually shoots pretty good photos. Not as good as, let's say, a Redmi Note 6 Pro, but quite powerful and quite similarly powered. Also, the fact there is this 13 megapixel f2.0 front facing camera, which also gets the job done and is pretty good. It also has glass back, as I said, Gorilla Glass 6 protected glass back and front, which is pretty good. But the USP of this device that I would call is, apart from the pricing of course, stock Android, and it will get bi-monthly security updates and Android versions updates, which is pretty good. And you cannot expect these kind of features under 15k, but Asus did actually deliver. Also, this Asus Zenfone Max Pro M2 can actually shoot 4K, as yes, the hardware supports, and it does. So it is one of the fewest phones which can shoot 4K videos at 30 fps in this price segment. So again, what price are we talking about? The 3GB RAM and the 32GB storage variant, which is the base variant, is priced for 12,999. The 4GB RAM and the 64GB variant is priced for 14,999. And the 6GB RAM and the 64GB variant of the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M2 is priced for 16,999. Forget the highest end variant, but then the 12,999 and the 14,999 are actual deals. And if you can get the 12,999 variant, then you are sorted actually. So these are the top 5 lists of under 15,000 smartphones in this year, and it will be also for a couple of months in next year. So yeah, these are the top 5 smartphones under 15,000 INR or $200. So some of these smartphones might not be available in your country, but all of these smartphones are actually available in India. So this is the best list if you want to buy a smartphone under 15,000 in India. So that pretty much winds up the video. Hopefully enjoyed the content. If you did, I feel like the one is privileged to have an awesome supporting audience like you feeling, make sure to crack the like button. But if you thought this video sucked, you better know what to do. But if you loved it and want to see more such awesome videos dropping at least twice a week, then it's no better time than hit subscribe button. And yeah, do this to make sure you get notified whenever we upload a new video. And then this has been Jonathan from TechTeachers, reminding you to check out my previous video, for which the links can be found somewhere on the screen or in the description section below. And then thanks for watching.